Hey, I'm Brian on the phone with Tay from Superheaven. What's going on?
Nothing. How's it going, man?
Good. I know you're a band from down by Philly. For the listeners who are just finding out about your band now, just give a brief description of it. I know they can look about up online, but just a brief description of the band.
I don't know. I'm not typically one for trying to describe what we sound like, just because I feel like you said, people should kind of just they'll decide what themselves what it sounds like. But I don't know. It's rock music. I don't really call it anything else. People put all sorts of names on different bands, and they'll try to label it under a certain genre. I don't know. It's rock and roll.
And how do you react to calling it grunge music? Because I know that's the kind of vibe I get from it when I listen to your music, whether it was the previous album, Jarred, I believe it was, and then this new one, Ours is Chrome.
I don't hate it. I think of grunge as more of a time and place kind of thing. I don't get mad when people try to label us as that. I think it's more of when it's used in a negative context, like sort of implying that we are trying to be like, trying to sound like this band or that band. But if it's that's the only time that I think it's sort of uncalled for. But it doesn't bother me. Like I said, I would never be like, oh yeah, we're a grunge band, because I just think we're a rock band. It's much less specific and less, because I feel like there's other elements of other genres and whatnot, like in our music. So I try not to, pigeonhole ourselves in with one thing or another. But to answer your question, I don't feel negative about the term grunge music or anything like that. I don't ever describe ourselves that way.
And your influences for the band, would that come from grunge music from like the early 90s with your Nirvanas and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, some of it. I think those certain bands from that time period would be a little more of the obvious influences, but obviously there's stuff like Lemonheads and like Black Sabbath, and even stuff like Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix that definitely influence on how we just think about writing music in general. Not necessarily, I don't think we sound like Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix, but I think that we draw influence from a lot of stuff that might not completely shine through in the forefront of what our records sound like, or what we sound like, anything like that.
I know the band formerly was known as Daylight, and then you had to change it to Superheaven. Why did you pick the name Superheaven?
The main thing that we wanted to do, since we had to change our name because of a legal issue, the name was another band owned the rights to the name. So our main, criteria for coming up with a new name was we didn't want to have to do that whole thing again, because changing the name was a real big pain in the butt. It was definitely difficult because you want a name that you can deal with hearing. But our main thing is we wanted something, if you looked it up on the internet, we were the only thing that comes up. It wasn't, there's not another band that has the same name. There's not another company that has a name or something like that. So Superheaven was kind of met all of the criteria that we were looking for. To me, the name isn't offensive, and it's not. When you Google Superheaven, we're the first thing that comes up, and as far as I know, there's really not anything else that goes under that name. So that's kind of why we went with that.
So there's nothing that really inspired you, other than the fact that it's an easy name to find, nobody else has. There's nothing that really inspired you to say, well, Superheaven is the best new name to come up with?
No. It doesn't have any, profound meaning or anything like that, or, a backstory. It's kind of a name that came up and a name that wasn't taken by anything else, and that's kind of what we were looking for.
This new album you have out, Ours is Chrome. First off, I want to say this is an outstanding album. It's honestly one of my favorite albums of the year, and it's not just because I'm talking to you on the phone right now. It really has been. I forget, I was looking at it yesterday, the meaning for Ours is Chrome. Just refresh my memory on that. I know it has something to do with, our life is related to Chrome, something like that.
No, it's kind of like, it's one of the lyrics in one of the songs, and it just kind of refers to, the shortest answer I can give is that, things can kind of appear one way, and, the general opinion of something might not really familiar with it could be one thing, but it's not always, that's not always the case. If something might look super appealing, but then when you get to know it, it's really not all it's kind of made out to be. In the context of the song, it kind of refers to, my family situation is sort of hectic and dysfunctional. I guess in the context of the song, kind of refers to it is hectic and dysfunctional, but it's I'd rather it be that, it's almost endearing at this point. I'm so used to it, and my family's anything but boring. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's like I said, there's like an endearing quality to it. But so it's a little bit of a double meaning kind of thing. But that's the overall theme of what the title means.
So it's basically things may not appear to be what they really are, and you're also incorporating this into your own family, is what you're saying?
Right. Because, I mean, elaborate a little. A lot of people think that being in a band and the touring band, if you've toured up the countries and stuff like that, you might as well be, famous. Like, I'll talk to kids, and other that, and they just assume that our life is this super cool thing, and that we, make a lot of money and this and that. And it's like, listen, man, like, I have less money than anyone I know. It's, I don't make any money being in a band, and which is fine. I mean, I choose to do this because I enjoy it. It's not the worst thing I could be doing. I think a lot of people who are unfamiliar with being in a touring band that's not super popular, they think of it one way, and it's not always the case.
You're definitely not the first person in the band to tell me that you really don't make a lot of money. I've heard that from many bands in the past, and so I kind of understand what you're saying, that you're not making a lot of money from doing this. It may be it's something fun for you to do, but getting you far financially.
Right.
Being on Side One Dummy, how did you get on the label, and how do you enjoy being on the label?
We met with them. I'm not really sure who's responsible for, I guess, hearing about us or anything like that, but I guess they heard us, and then we were on tour in California a couple years ago, and they just were like, hey, do you guys come by and we'll have a meeting and stuff like that? And we were like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. So we went over, and they just kind of sat down with us, and their vibe is so open and friendly. They're no one, there's not a bunch of guys wearing suits or anything like that. It's just a bunch of regular people that really like music, and from what I know, they seem to all really enjoy their jobs. They all sat down and they were just like, what are you guys looking to do? Like the band and stuff like that. And then it was kind of casual. They're like, hey, we'd love to have you guys on the label if you would be interested. So we kind of talked about that for a while, and then formal agreements were written up and whatnot. And it's been really good. I mean, they are very hardworking, for one, and they're very, the most important thing with us in our band is they don't tell us that we can't do anything, and they don't tell us what they think we should do. It's just kind of like, hey, what do you guys want to do? And then we tell them, and then they're like, okay, well, let's make a plan around that. It's been really a really positive experience.
And I know Side One Dummy is an awesome label, and I know they've become very diverse over the past, 5 to 10 years. They've been slowly starting to cross over into just normal, indie rock bands, not just the hardcore punk bands that they've been known to sign in the past.
Right. I think they are, I've spoken to a few people there just specifically, but they have said that, it's very important to them to have a diverse roster, not just, they don't want to be pigeonholed as just a punk label, or the label that does a lot of stuff with Warped Tour or this or that. They're like, we like all kinds of music, and we want to put out all kinds of music. So at this point, if you look at their website, their roster is extremely diverse. They have they put out country records, they've put out super fast punk stuff, and they've put out they've put out hardcore records, super there's stuff like us. There's a band like from Soho, which is from Australia, and they're really I don't even know how to describe them, honestly. Their roster is definitely diverse at this point.
And being on Side One Dummy now, looking ahead to the future, do you hope that the band becomes, I mean, obviously this is most bands' goals, but do you yourself hope that Superheaven becomes an even bigger band, or are you comfortable with the band being the way it is now?
I probably flip-flop between those two things, because on one hand, I really do enjoy being in a band and playing music, and doing that as a career would be ideal for the most part. But at the same, so I mean, if the band was more popular and we made more money, that would be, I definitely don't want. I'm not the kind of person who's like, I don't want that to happen. But at the same time, I do find it hard to. There's a lot of other stuff that goes along with that seems kind of stressful to me. I'm kind of just open to see where things go, would be my official answer, I guess.
Because if you do choose to become a bigger band, and tour a lot, that does mean being away from home a lot more and being away from friends and family even more than what it already is now.
Right.
And one thing I like to ask is, where does the album art come from?
There's not a real good. The story behind it isn't real good. I get asked this all the time, and everything was pretty much figured out ahead of time with the first LP, and then this one was just kind of like everything was behind schedule for us. And the record was done, and we were like, all right, well, we need cover art so we can send this thing out to get pressed. We still didn't have anything, and then our manager sent us like some different artists and photographers, just kind of, hey, check these people's work out, and maybe we can do something with them. Like one of the photographers was a girl named Alison Scarpula, and that photo was on her website, and I think the original intention was we will have this person take photos that you can use for the cover art, but we were just like, we like this photo. Is there any way we can use that? And luckily it wasn't like used for anything else. It was just a picture that she had taken casually, and so we just bought the photo, and that's the cover art. There's really no great story behind or anything like that. We just liked it.
And a couple of random questions here. What's your favorite Philly cheesesteak?
To be honest, I'm not a big cheesesteak guy. I don't really like them that much, but when I do, I guess probably Steve's.
I never heard of that place. I know like the big four, like your Jim's, Pat's, Gino's, and Tony Luke's.
I have a couple friends who live right near Pat's and Gino's, and I never ever eat at either of those places. Like I said, I really don't eat cheesesteaks ever.
And what's your favorite Philly landmark or place to go in Philly?
I don't know. I don't really hit the landmarks too much, but I don't know. I think that I like going to the museums there, but I wouldn't say I go there super often either. So I don't have a good answer for that.
Well, as far as venues are concerned, what's your favorite there? I know, obviously, you can jokingly say Union Transfer since you just played there, but what's a favorite venue down there?
I wouldn't even say it jokingly. I've said it. I say it all the time. That Union Transfer is my favorite venue. I just feel like they have it figured out. Like when you tour a lot and you play a lot of venues, you realize that a lot of them really, like, convenience for bands is an afterthought for most venues. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, the stage is this, and a lot of venues don't take into account, like, oh, where all of the gear is going to go for the other bands while one band's playing, where bands are going to park, where bands are going to put their stuff. That's part of it. But Union Transfer was made with all of those things in mind. It has a gated parking lot for vans and stuff like that. It has, the venue's really clean. The setup of it is perfect. So, I played a lot of venues, and Union Transfer is definitely my favorite one.
I definitely enjoy going there for concerts as well, so I can agree with you. It's definitely like, they seem to know what they're doing, and they seem, like you said, to be clean and organized there. At least it appears that way. What's just a random cool fact about Superheaven that, like, you can't Google or find on the internet?
I don't know. We're not that interesting. The only thing I can really think of is that we've had two drummers, and our old drummer was in the band for the first few years, and then when we got a new drummer, our current drummer Zach, we didn't know him at all before he joined the band. We kind of had like a couple mutual friends, but we kind of just contacted him out of the blue. And we're like, hey, do you want to come like play some songs with us? And he showed up, and we didn't know him at all. Like, there wasn't even any. Like, no one in the band was friends with him at all prior to him being in the band, and then we asked him to be in the band. So it's lucky that he turned out to be someone that we liked, because we asked him to be in the band without really anything personality.
And anything else you want to add in?
Nothing that I can really think of.
All right, well, I definitely appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with me on the phone today. I definitely appreciate it.
Cool, yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me, and definitely I wanted to talk with you just because, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, that Ours is Chrome is seriously one of my favorite albums of this year, and that's why I wanted to get to know you and your band a little bit better. So,
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. And I'm Brian on the phone with Tay from Superheaven.